Welcome to the fine print, ladies and
Boom.
gentlemen. My name is Caleb Teskey, and today I am joined once again by one of my very first guests from way back in the day here, Chris Chabot from Freedom Flower. Chris, thank you for
Ooh,
joining me again.
yeah. Thanks, Caleb. It's great to be back.
It is great to be back, and it's been a long time since we talked, and I'd love to hear what you've been up to, man.
Okay, so for everybody who saw that first interview and for everybody who didn't, I'm Chris Chabot. I'm the owner of Freedom Flower LLC. We are applying for our Tier 2 manufacturing permit. And if you can hear some background noise, that's because there's a couple of guys working downstairs right now getting the facility ready for our fire inspection, which will come next week. So we're in the thick of it. If everybody's been hearing about, how long and arduous this licensure process is and how many things we need to do to have our ducks in line, I am in the middle of it right now. We've had a lot of changes over the past year, from thinking about being a cultivator to all the way now to where we're sitting in our facility, getting ready to get our license passed for manufacturing. And so in order to really make sure that we got the best quality products to market in a timely manner, we decided to drop the cultivation side of things for now and focus solely on our manufacturing process. So we're going to be making 4 flavors of seltzer, and our seltzer is called the Canna Refresher from Freedom Flower. And we have we're lined up with 30 dispensaries to start with, and more are entering the market, and more as we talk to them. And we're looking at also working with some of the big wholesalers in the state to fill in the cracks where we're not able to get to, when there's just a lot of retailers and we don't know all of them. So
Can I ask you, Chris? Can I ask
please.
you, why did you decide to make that pivot in your business model?
I decided to do that because at the time, the construction costs were really the estimates that I was getting for constructing the building were way out of my budget. And all of the little things that the state needed in terms of like the best possible insulation and the best possible HVAC, and having all of these things done by contractors, not being able to come in and do any of them yourself, that made it cost prohibitive for me to enter the market, even as a Tier 1 grower.
Damn.
And I was thinking that I think it would be better to have some smaller tier sizes. That 1,000 square feet of growing space is 62 fixtures, which, if you're doing a full cycle and you're doing, a bedroom and a couple of flower rooms, you can push out 500 pounds a year, which is more than one person can realistically do on their own. And at that point, if you have employees or, you need to have, it's designated as a public building. So you need to have all these other steps in place to make sure that that's ADA accessible, and whether it's up or downstairs, So I was looking at having to install an elevator into my space because I didn't have, a way to have a ramp to downstairs because my lot size was so small.
Gotcha.
If there had been, a smaller tier size where I felt like I could have maximized 500 square feet of grow space instead of 1,000, that would have allowed me to be in there on my own. I don't know. It's a complicated question.
No, but you're right. If you're paying for the 1,000 square feet and you're not using the whole 1,000 square feet, it does seem like a waste of space or money, maybe, perhaps.
Right. Or especially when the state is like capping us at 500,000 square feet of licensing of canopy space. They would be able to cover that more efficiently if they had some smaller license tiers that reflected the nature of a lot of our legacy growers.
Is there a cap going on the total square footage?
I thought there was.
I have to
Maybe I'm
don't
mistaken.
quote me, please, and I'm not going to quote you either. But I'm
In
not
those
aware of that.
initial reports, they were saying 450,000 to 500,000
Right,
square feet
right.
was what the market could bear in terms of flower production and what the market would need in terms of square footage. But if a lot of that square footage is actually going unused because people aren't producing the maximum amount of flower in their space,
Okay.
there's going to be issues with with that. And I think well, with supply and demand. And I think you know the solution to that isn't releasing more big licenses. It's releasing more small licenses that are suited to the nature of the growing that's going on already in the legacy market. Which I don't think is to the scale of 1,000 square feet. Anyway,
I think that's a good point, Chris.
We decided the best move for our business was to focus really solely on this seltzer and the services that we can offer through our manufacturing permit. So we're offering white label pre-rolling services for tier 1 growers to help them get their the best value that they can out of the flower that they've grown. We're also offering limited trimming services where we can do hand manicuring of a tier 1 grower's flower, again, to help them get the best value from the product that they've already produced. And we're looking at a whole line of edible products that I don't think is I haven't seen on the edible market yet. And I'm going to just keep that one under wraps because I want to make sure that all the materials that we have are compliant before we release that. But yeah, we're doing a lot of great stuff over here. And I'm really excited to offer that seltzer all across Vermont.
It's good. I tried it.
Thanks, Caleb.
Can you tell us about the packaging a little bit? Because it sounds like some packaging has to really be purchased in bulk, depending on if you're getting the labels printed on it or not. Can you just tell us a little bit about how you've gone about picking out your packaging?
Sure. And the packaging equipment is a huge part of the process of developing this brand and this product. I would say a good 50% of our budget has gone towards equipment and equipment that's necessary for the packaging. Due to the nature of the extract that we're using, glass is pretty much the only acceptable option without losing potency over time. A lot of distillate products are attractive to the inside of cans, the liner on a can. So over time, you'll actually see a precipitous drop in potency in those beverages that are contained in cans.
No shit.
And since Vermont's regulations dictate a 10% discrepancy allowed in edibles, at least it was when we started developing the product. It might be 20% now, but either way, in order to maintain a really strict and accurate dosing in each seltzer, we needed to do a really exact form of cannabis extract, namely nano-emulsion distillate. And that distillate is actually attractive to the inside of cans, which eliminated the possibility of doing cans. And canning is pretty cheap. That's why a lot of the craft beer brewers utilize cans as opposed to bottles. Sure. However, cans are less environmentally friendly than bottles. We have a less robust system for recycling and for taking recycling. And everyone knows there's already a very robust system in place for receiving glass in the recycling stream. So for that reason and for the potency reason, we opted for glass. And but the container that the seltzer comes in is just a small part of the packaging dilemma. Right now we're going through a redesign process with our labels, because our labels were rejected by the Cannabis Control Board. I don't know if you have a way to pull up the pictures that I sent you, Caleb, but
I'm looking at them right now.
If you can screen share and show folks what our labels are looking like.
Oh man, I have them on my phone. I honestly I haven't ever dude, I should figure that out. And I'd be happy to share that because
Sure, and you can look on our social media. I'll be posting them
here,
this
I
afternoon.
see it. Can of Refresher here, blood orange. Which this looks like a really nice label here. Cardamom, ginger, and lime.
Yeah, and so well, we have that and mango. We have these 4 flavors, and
on what grounds was that rejected?
So those were rejected because of the images of fruit that are contained on the labels. The Lauren Higby, I believe it was, responded to, and she said that if I were to remove the images containing fruit, then my labels would be compliant. And she said that the fruit was depicted as child friendly. And if I were, I responded by asking, under what grounds was fruit child friendly or not child friendly, because I would love to be able to have an accurate description on my label of what's going in the seltzer. So if I'm using blood orange extract, as I am, I would like to be able to put a blood orange on my label.
And that makes sense, because you want people to know what's in your drinks.
And if they thought that the colors were too bright or the size proportional to the label was too big, those are things that I could change. But saying that it's a child-friendly depiction of fruit doesn't really give me much to change, and they just asked me to remove the fruit. And we're going through the design process. We're redesigning the label so that it's compliant. But at the same time, I've had people reach out to me and send me pictures of compliant products that are for sale in Vermont right now that have pictures of fruit on them. And for me, that's hard to wrap my head around.
Yeah, this is a tough one, dude. Like, I've heard all of the arguments about marketing to children.
And don't get me wrong, Caleb, I totally believe that cannabis should not be marketed to kids. And I think cannabis should not be consumed by kids. Yes. And I want to help with making sure that doesn't happen.
Right.
So if me changing my labels is something that needs to happen in order for my products to get to market, I'm already there. We've already come up with a design to change it so that our labels will be compliant. My issue with it is that there are other labels with extremely similar graphics on them that have been approved by the board and are for sale in Vermont right now. And I just want to know why those ones are okay and mine aren't okay.
And I think that's a great question, Chris.
Right. And I responded to the board about that question, and we'll see what they say, because they haven't responded yet. It's been 5 days. So that's not even that long, especially around the Christmas time. I know people are with their families a lot on the holidays, and maybe they're not even working through this week at all. I don't know. But my issue with that is just how are they going to enforce these rules that they're creating? Who's checking? And do I have to be well connected and make millions of dollars in order to have my labels go through, or is it a system that's equitable? So these aren't accusations; these are just questions that I'm asking myself, that I'm asking my friends and my close associates, because it is it's hard to get that answer back when I've been working so hard on everything, and trying to make sure that everything's ready on time and that my labels are appropriate and that my labels get printed and that they get put on the bottles and put for sale. And we've taken a lot of pride and a lot of extra steps to ensure that our products are both compliant and safe. And we spent extra money. We producing nutrition fact labels for each of the products so that they have what consumers expect. Consumers expect when they consume a beverage, whether it has cannabis in it or not, that they know what's going into it, that they know what's
It
going.
sounds like you've also
in
spent a lot of money just sort of pivoting your business here, man.
Yep. Yeah, I sure have. And some of those things
Sorry to
are,
interrupt you there.
no, it's totally okay. Yeah, pivoting the business was something that needed to happen in the moment, and I think that in the future, with a few years under my belt and hopefully some more capital in my pocket, I'll be able to revisit the cultivation side of things and expand my business into that sector. But I like to do what I can really well. And so if that means producing fewer products and being a manufacturer and still being able to maintain that quality of and integrity of our system, then that's what I'll do.
I like your drinks, dude. The first one I tried, I was questionable, but then I had another one, and I got to tell you, I've tried some other comparable products, and I got to tell you, dude, shit tastes pretty good.
Well, thanks, Caleb.
My homie had a company called Levia in Massachusetts. This was one of my very good friends in college, and they just sold that for 20 or 30 million down in Massachusetts. And it was a seltzer, a cannabis infused seltzer company. And they had raspberry lime, which is my favorite flavor of seltzer. And I tried it. I just didn't love it, dude. Like the flavor was not good. It didn't taste good. Like when I drink something, I want it to taste good. I don't care what's in it. I want it to taste good, and it didn't taste good. And the samples I've tried from you have tasted lovely, sir.
Well, thank you. I've worked in food service and fine dining for many, many years, and I try and bring that that service experience and that experience of playing with foods and playing with flavors and textures into this pursuit, because I know there are lots of folks out there who want to drink a cocktail and not get intoxicated by alcohol.
Yeah.
So really these flavors are informed by the craft beverage scene and by specialty cocktails that I love to consume.
What about a CBD line? Do you have a CBD line up your sleeve, maybe?
I would love to produce a CBD line, but however, the regulations with THC forbid you to produce just CBD products or regular food products in the same facility that a THC product is made in. So if I wanted to produce a CBD only seltzer, I would have to rent another facility, buy all new equipment, and produce a separate line of beverages. Which
why is that, Chris?
In the future.
Do you know why that is?
I think because people are afraid that residual THC will enter into the market for non-THC products. And for me, I don't see that ever happening because our sanitizing methods are quite sound, and they're the same as they would be used in the craft brewing industry.
Right, and also people don't want to waste their THC like on a fucking CBD. Like, dude, they want that to go in where it goes. Like,
right.
Nobody's gonna be.
Part of it is because none of the THC laws have really caught up to where the food service laws are at. So there aren't the same sorts of standards for producing THC beverages as there are for producing, and that not the same sort of oversight. Like, since it's a federally scheduled substance. The FDA won't inspect any or approve any beverages or any edibles. So we're kind of operating in this area where the state is regulating us under the Cannabis Control Board, but not as producers of food or beverages. And in order to deal with that, I actually just went ahead and did all of the standard things that you would need for a restaurant. Like we have hand sinks, and we have a 3-bay sink for sanitizing, and we have, all of the things that one would need to operate a kitchen, a legal kitchen. So if and when those regulations are changed, we're already ready to go.
So a bit of forward thinking.
Yeah, and also, more money to be spent on the front end. But, whatever we can do to produce a beverage that consumers can trust. Because I believe that's paramount. Once trust is lost, it's much harder to regain it. And so I'd like to gain it in the first cycle here.
And let me ask you, what's the strongest seltzer that you would be allowed to sell on the market in Vermont here?
So edible packages need to be reclosed and child resistant for every 5 milligram serving. Because of the nature of glass bottles and the sealing under pressure, this is a 1 serving package. So 12 ounces of seltzer, 5 milligrams of THC. Until the regulations change and we have a higher dosing limit per serving, I don't see that changing. But there is some movement with the 30% cap on flower and the 60% cap on edible sorry, not on edibles, on 60% cap of concentrates.
Yeah.
So I hope that in revisiting that, they also revisit the discussion about 5 milligrams per serving in edibles. I would hope to be able to offer a stronger beverage for more seasoned consumers, and also a weaker beverage for less seasoned consumers. Because there has been some feedback that I've gotten where people are saying, wow, 5 milligrams really affects me strongly.
Yeah.
And, I would love the opportunity to consume seltzers, as if it were a beer, aka
but then I've also met
multiple in an afternoon.
Then I meet people that eat 300 or 400 milligrams of edibles at a time, and they're like,
sure,
what is this 5 milligrams?
Right. Well, I don't want to drink 20 seltzers to get my buzz.
Right. Which is an outrageous amount, but dude, I know people that are up there in that range, and to charge them that much at a retail level, I think is just very cost prohibitive for your customers as well.
Well, yeah, not only that, but it creates a thriving black market for products that are unavailable and illegal under the legal market. And if the legal market's real goal is to create a safer marketplace for consumers to consume, what they would normally consume illegally, then I think that those regulations will change. And it's not whether I think they should or whether I think they shouldn't, or whoever thinks they should or shouldn't. It's just that they will change in the future.
Well, the board said at the last meeting, or maybe the meeting prior, that they are going to suggest to lift the THC caps, I believe, and the vape tax, which is very encouraging, because those are two things that are the vape tax. However they tied that in with THC, it was a nice bit of sleight of hand.
Sure. I mean, we all knew. I mean, I say we all knew, but I knew in the beginning that this was a first draft of the law, and it's not perfect. Like, no first draft is perfect. If you pass in your first draft to the professor, you're gonna get an F. Unless you're real good. But even so, they're going back in and they're fixing stuff. They're editing stuff. They're taking our comments seriously, which is a pretty fantastic thing.
I think so, dude. And they've done a good job.
And hopefully they won't just take the comments of the big MSOs or the and switch the regulations to being for them. But so far I haven't seen a whole lot of that unless it's been completely under the table.
No, dude, I gotta give him credit, man. Like, it does seem like, dude, those are two of the biggest concerns that I've heard over the last year, and they're going to bat in the ledge session and suggesting that some of these things be removed. So I have to give them that credit.
Yeah, and I read or spoke with someone who said that the two folks who promoted those caps have retired now.
One of them, Secretary of State.
Well, he no longer has voting rules in the House, so, or the legislature. Well, the thing is, we're all learning, and I hope that person has seen the error of that rule and heard the people speak, because if they are really our representatives, they hopefully hear what we're saying and say, hey, maybe that decision wasn't great. Maybe we can revisit that.
And there are, I gotta say, I do feel like there are a few people in the Vermont government that are listening, which is encouraging to me personally.
Yeah, how come John Rogers didn't run, or did he just not win?
I'll tell you after.
Okay. Sorry to put you on the spot, John.
No. John's a great guy, dude, and honestly, one of the best people I've met in Vermont since I started covering this.
Yeah, no, I remember him from back in the hemp movement days. He ran these meetings that happened out of Parker Pie that I attended, and they were really well attended, and they were really a great resource for hemp growers. And I think politicians like that are what this state needs to move forward and to move forward equitably.
People who actually touch plants.
People who who spent their whole lives touching plants.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Dude, it would be nice to see that, dude. It would be nice to see more farmers having a say in agricultural matters.
Yeah.
Personally.
I heard that they're looking for a new board chair. That they right, that they have that applications have been in for a new board chair for a while.
I'm gonna apply right now.
Oh, that's awesome. But my thing is, like, only less than a year into the job and he's already ready to go.
Hasn't it been 2 years?
Has it been 2 years?
There is a replacement model for the length that they're in there. I don't know if he's reached his tenure. I don't know. I thought it was 3 years. I thought they staggered it so that they wouldn't all leave at the same time and be all replaced. But okay, so please.
But I think it's been. I don't think it's been the 2-year tenure. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna apply for that job.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
They never hired me, but I think I have a lot of connections that could really help them with some of their decision making. Quite frankly.
Yeah, and a lot of information too. Access to that information that you need to gain.
Look, Chris, I didn't want to make this about that, though. I really just want to hear about your bit. Do you have anything else here? I only had like 3 or 4 questions there, but dude, I want to hear anything else you got on your mind right now, buddy, because it's been a while since we spoke, and I want you to be able to dump out all your thoughts here.
Well, it's not always about going on a tirade.
No, but if you got anything, dude, please, dude.
No, so we're really excited to open. We're scheduled to open. Hopefully, if the license comes in, we'll be open in early February. And if we can't get licensed in the January session, we'll hopefully get licensed in the February session. Because, it's a big blow to have been planning my business model, thinking that I would get licensed when I was ready, and now having to contend with maybe operating maybe not operating for another month or two or however long until the board can meet, and until, like, it just it it sends my anxiety through the roof, honestly. Thinking about having to twiddle my thumbs for an extra month waiting for the board to approve my license, because of a technicality. Yeah. I'm going to be painting in a few days. I'd love to show everybody the space. I've been really quiet on social media recently because we were working super hard on making sure that everything is ready to go. And yeah, I don't have a whole lot more than that, Caleb. I'm excited to announce we're sponsoring another contra dance at the end of January with Higher Elevation and Highly
You
Rooted.
like the contra dances, huh, Chris?
I love to contra dance, man. I've been doing it since I was a little kid, and the music and the calling and the gathering together in the hall with everybody is just so fulfilling.
Yeah.
So
my mom used to take us to contra dances when we were kids, man. Her friend played the spoons. Like, yo.
Yeah, well, kids are welcome at this one too. We get all ages. This will be the second dance. It's January 28th at the River Arts Center in Morrisville.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think we're doing 7:30 to 10:30. It's the Dale and Darcy band playing, and Luke Donforth who's calling. Okay. And yeah, I hope that everyone can come out and make it. It's a $15 donation at the door, but you can give less if you can't do $15, and you can give more if you can afford that and want to help support community dances. So we're doing this every 2 months, and we hope to really continue it further in the new year and get some other great bands from Southern Vermont and all over the place.
And we can find you at Freedom Flower Vermont on Instagram.
Yeah, Freedom Flower VT at Instagram. The website is almost up, guys. It's coming soon. But we're easiest to reach right on Instagram at Freedom Flower VT. Or you can reach me personally at freedomflowervt@gmail.com. All right, Caleb, thanks so much.
Dude, it's a pleasure speaking with you, and I wish you the best of luck in the months to come here, man. I can't wait to see what you got for us.
Thanks so much, Caleb.
Peace. Take care.
Peace.